What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Espresso, and welcome back to another Black Ops 3 video here today on the channel. Today, we're going to be discussing a little bit of what we talked about yesterday in terms of that survey that went around talking about Black Ops 3 and content that people would either like to see or not like to see here within it. And more specifically, we're going to focus on one specific aspect of that, the possibility of new specialists coming in Black Ops 3. Now, I know that might sound a little bit crazy. We already have 9 with Blackjack, if you want to call him a specialist. A lot of people will say that he's a mercenary, not a specialist, but he's in that specialist category, so to me, the 10th specialist is Blackjack. So, could we see more? That's the real question here, and honestly, I think it's quite possible. Whether it happens or not, that is a completely different story. However, there is evidence that could lead to that of a future specialist, either DLC or something that we get again in terms of mercenaries where you can earn them. So let's clear the air before we get too far into the actual evidence here. Why do we even think that this is something relevant to talk about? Well, yesterday we talked about a survey that went out to various users in the Call of Duty community. It was something that was randomly picked, not everybody got it, and I can tell you firsthand that I didn't get it, but in that survey, there was a lot of things that could potentially be coming to the game and a lot of things that just did not seem like it would ever come to the game. Each year we get one of these surveys in which it talks about stuff like this, either in the current game or the game coming up, and in that, it's really just a lot of things that could happen, but a lot more things that could not happen. So kind of like a smokescreen to take away from what potentially could be the real ideas, to gather that information on it without it making it seem like it's actually coming. So with that said, specialists were something that were mentioned in this survey, and really the next big question is it too late for DLC like this? My simple answer is no, it's not. As you guys know, Blackjack was introduced earlier this month, and that honestly is quite a long time after the launch of the game. 9 specialists, and then 6 months later, we have a 10th one, and maybe even more down the line. It was introduced in a slow period for Black Ops 3, and there's bound to be many more dry spells after DLC 3 leading up into DLC 4, but also we have to keep in mind that even post DLC 4, we're more than likely going to get content added in the form of the public release of mod tools. That's something that I don't expect that to be coming out until after DLC 4 has already been released. So with that said, the timing wise, it definitely could work out, but what about the actual content? Are specialists actually up there and available to be placed into the game? Well, whether or not they're in the game code, which some of these actually are, there's a bunch of specialists that were on the drawing board and theorized all the way back before the launch from a leaker who gave a lot of information that turned out to be 100% true. So we're gonna be revisiting it here today with this one and showcasing a little bit of what we potentially could see. Once again, it's all theory and speculation, so take this with a grain of salt. But the first specialist is an orphan who is an accurate shooter, like one of the best shooters in the entire world of Black Ops 3. The ability that they would have is Bullseye, which is massive aim assist for a short duration. The weapon was a sniper, and it has increased aim assist and massive gore. So think of the PTRS blowing off limbs from World at War, that kind of thing. Another specialist had no augmentation done to them. They didn't really believe in the way that the world was going with augmentation, and the ability is Magnetize, which allows a magnetic field to go out in all directions, similar to Vision Pulse, in which all players drop their weapons at that point instead of being seen on the radar. The weapon would be a one-shot railgun that has a charge delay, and this one seemed a little bit out there, but with the Banshee and the Rift E9, the weapons that we're seeing are kind of out there for DLC. So the next one is Richtof, and this actually was a theorized one and one that was a fake leak back in the day, but the idea is still there and potentially could still actually come, just not the leak that we saw previously. The ability is Zombified, which would reduce the movement of enemies, and the weapon would be the ray gun, which is the same ray gun that we know from zombies, all the same properties. Another specialist would be a Crazy Scientist, whose ability would be to get all the perks within the game for a short duration, which we've seen this in the form of the specialist bonus in Modern Warfare 3, as well as I think it was called the Blessing of Anubis for a specific map in Ghosts, so it's not the most wild of ideas. The weapon is a plasma cannon, which shoots plasma ammo in a large radius, which again, with the introduction of plasma weapons, is this really so crazy? Another specialist is then a chemical warfare expert whose ability is blindness and causes enemies nearby to go temporarily blind. Partially what Heatwave does, but kind of slightly different and a little bit more specific. The weapon would be a Nova gas launcher, which we've seen Nova gas in the campaign briefly, and it would tie in there. But also with this one, keep in mind, this leak from all these specialists, the guy that actually leaked this stuff, it came out before the game launched. So nobody knew that Nova 6 was actually going to be in the campaign. Sure, you might be able to infer it, but take it how you will. So another one would be a Frankenstein-esque specialist, where it's just a botched medical experiment for all this augmentation, and his ability would be Rage, which shows enemies in thermal while your HUD would turn black and white in a focused rage. The weapon would be a huge shotgun that fires explosive pellets, and finally the last specialist that was listed from this a long while back was a water specialist, whose ability was a water thruster and increased the movement speed with that, and the weapon was a high pressurized water cannon. This one actually is in the game code. That was one that started up a lot of speculation a couple of months back whenever there were assets for this specialist found in the game code, so a lot of these may be hidden in there as well, either assets or just back on the drawing board, wherever it may be. The ideas, they're there, it's just a matter of seeing if they do come out in time. And with this survey then pointing to the possibility of that, whether or not that was one of the ones that is a smokescreen or not, I think that it's quite possible that later on down the line we could see more, but that's just all speculation. Once again, this isn't confirmed in any way, shape, or form, so hopefully you guys don't take it like that. I just want to see what you guys think about this here. Would you guys like to see more specialists coming to Black Ops 3? And if so, of these ones, would you guys like to see any of them? Love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section down below, but that's what we're going to wrap it up here today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, be sure to like, rating down below. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We are on that road to 40,000 subscribers. We may hit it tonight, we may hit it tomorrow, but we are so close. So thank you guys so much for watching. Mine has been Nikolai Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.